Rentaro was an unlucky simp who couldn't get a girlfriend even after asking out 100 girls, from the baddies to the uglies. However, everything changes when the god of love gives him 100 soulmates, and he has to crack them all or they will die. It all started on the final day of the school year. Rentaro asks a girl to be his girlfriend, but she rejects him for having too much inches, but lacking the charm to back it up. Afterward, his best friend consoles him and asks how many times he has been rejected. Rentaro says that it's the 100th time, revealing that he has been spitting game at baddies before he could spell the alphabet, but it always ended in a rejection. Still heartbroken, Rentaro goes to a shrine to pray for better luck in finding a girlfriend so he can get his willy wet, but suddenly, a bald-headed Donnie pops up from the donation box, shocking Rentaro. The bald old man reveals that he is the god of loves, and he tells Rentaro he is destined to have 100 soulmates. But Rentaro refuses to believe his yapping. The god of love still insists that soulmates are determined from when he was born, and that Rentaro will recognize them instantly through an electrifying zing in the future, which despite sounds absurd, Rentaro has no choice but to believe. Some months later, as Rentaro starts a new school year, he accidentally bumps into two plump baddies, Hikari and Karana. Almost instantly, all three feel an electrifying zing, and Rentaro realizes the god was telling the truth. When he tries to help them up, Hikari pretends that she sprains her ankle so Rentaro will grab her cheeks and carry her. Seeing this, Karana refuses to lose, does the same thing to get his attention. Feeling guilty, Rentaro starts punching himself, thinking he hurt both of his soulmates on their first meeting, and seeing this, both girls jump up and beg him to stop. When he notices that they are both fine, they both quickly act like they're hurt and beg him to take them to the nurse's office. With a girl on each side, Rentaro feels like he is in heaven, and as they walk, they overhear some students talking about how finding a 4-leaf clover in a flower bed increases the chances of their love lasting forever. Hearing that, the girls rush off, saying they have something to do, leaving Rentaro confused, seeing that they are suddenly healthy. After school, while heading home, he sees them in the garden searching for a 4-leaf clover for him, so he decides to do something for them too. Moments later, he stands by the flower bed holding drinks for them, which surprises Karane. Rentaro offers her one of the drinks, and she gets flustered like a tomato, but refuses it to play hard to get. However, she ends up accepting and leaves. Just then, Hikari returns, and he offers her the other drink. Wanting an indirect kiss, she teasingly says she cannot finish it, and asks him to drink half. Rentaro does what she asks, and when he hands it back, Hikari gets too excited over getting his slimy saliva that she accidentally spills it. As she grieves over the spilled drink, Rentaro offers his handkerchief, but she grabs his hand instead and suddenly confesses her feelings for him. Overjoyed, Rentaro is about to respond when Karane returns. She immediately gets in Hikari's face, accusing her of trying to cheat and take Rentaro before she does. Remembering that Rentaro is watching, Karana switches back to acting like a sunder, but eventually drops her pride and confesses to him directly. Rentaro stands there in shock, and both girls move closer, asking which one he wants to date. Not knowing which pair of hot cheeks to pick, Rentaro goes back to the shrine to ask the god for advice. But the god of love admits the truth that the day Rentaro was born, the stupid god was too busy jorking it and accidentally put 100 soulmates for Rentaro. However, he explains that if soulmates don't get together, they will die, leaving Rentaro with an even tougher decision on who will continue living. On the way home, Rentaro has an idea that he should date both girls in secret from the other. So the next day, when he meets the girls, they are surprised to see him covered in dirt. When they ask what happened, he explains he spent the entire night searching for 4-leaf clovers and managed to find 2. He then asks both of them to be his girlfriends, shocking them. Karane questions if he is serious, but Rentaro assures them he is. Knowing how hard it is to confess, he admits he cannot choose because he likes them both. He promises to treat them properly, and offers the clovers as proof of his sincerity. Karane immediately rejects the idea and calls him shameless, but Hikari accepts and agrees to date him. Seeing this, Karane quickly changes her mind and agrees as well. The next morning, Rentaro is still on cloud 9 after getting himself 2 hotties as future baby mamas, and he talks about it all to a pole he randomly found. When the girls pop up, Karan asks him what on earth he was doing, and Rentaro simply says that he was just over the moon dating them. Hikari then has the idea that they should hold hands, and when she holds Rentaro's hand, she almost turns on the juices due to how long his fingers are. Rentaro then grabs Karane's as well, and while she acts as if she hates it, deep down, she wants him to choke her hard and make her gag. They then walk to school while holding hands, excited for their first day together. When they arrive, they see a student being chased by a living, breathing nightmare, and the girls explain that it is the vice principal, who punishes anyone running in the halls by kissing them and using her tongue to traumatize the students. The thought of being kissed by her makes all 3 of them shudder, so Hikari quickly changes the topic and asks Rentaro if he has ever kissed anyone before. Rentaro admits he has not, since they are his first girlfriends, and right then and there, both girls want to be his first kiss, and they know they have to fight each other to get it. Later, at lunch, they hang out on the rooftop, and Hikari starts her plan by feeding Rentaro some of her homemade food. Refusing to lose, Karain tries to shove a cookie into his mouth, but accidentally pokes him in the eye instead. Despite being blinded, Rentaro eats the cookie and praises it for tasting good. Hikari then suggests that they try the Pocky she brought, and when she shows it to him, all the ends of the Pocky are broken off, so it forces her to feed it to him using her mouth. Rentaro panics when he sees how close she is, but Hikari keeps going and starts eating the other end. When Karain realizes they are about to touch lips, she tries to stop them with her own Pocky, but ends up blinding his other eye. Then, her hair brushes his nose, making him sneeze and snap the Pocky in half. Hikari is furious about it, and as Rentaro tries to calm her down, Karan notices his red, busted eyes. Not knowing she caused it, she assumes he is sick and tries to use the moment to her advantage. Just as she moves in to kiss him, Hikari knocks her aside with her mumbo-jumbos and tries to take her place, but Karane fights back. As things start turning into a full-on fight, Rentaro steps in and stops them. When he asks if they are arguing over who gets to kiss him first, both girls freeze up, proving that they are guilty as charged. After calming down, Rentaro admits he wants to kiss them too, and claims that he has a plan for it. He says that his genius plan involves using a dice, blindfolds, and music players to help them and make Rentaro get to kiss one of them without them knowing, and himself who gets the first kiss. Hikari calls his idea brilliant, but Karain points out that someone could cheat by removing their blindfold. Rentaro says that will not happen because they will all promise not to take them off by doing a pinky promise, one that Rentaro say he will keep and cut off his own finger if he breaks the promise. When they start, Rentaro walks toward Hikari, but with his hands out, he accidentally grabs her twin puppies. Hikari makes happy noises and feels all tingly, but she tells him that he should keep going and squeeze her dry if he wants to. However, Rentaro gets flustered and taps Karane, saying that they need to restart. On the second try, he heads toward Karane, but a breeze lifts her skirt, revealing the seafood smell underneath to a nearby cat. Being the cultured kitty, the cat starts playing with it, and Karain thinks it is Rentaro being completely freaky and begins attacking him. Once she realizes it is just a cat. After that, they tell Hikari they need to restart again without explaining why. From then on, they keep trying again and again, with each attempt being worse than the last, and Rentaro getting the hit, which ends with the girls blaming each other, calling each other a kiss-thirsty hoe who can't keep their legs closed. Seeing that, Rentaro takes the blame for their fight, and in an act of desperation, he runs off quickly and calls out the vice principal to catch him, deciding to let his first kiss be taken away by this horror show of an old hag. Then, the vice principal catches him and tries to take away his lips and tongue's cherry, but before she gobbles him up, Karain grabs her and stops her. While she struggles, Hikari pretends to call for a school inspector to witness what is happening, and the old prune runs away and goes after another student instead. The girls rush to Rentaro and ask why he almost let that happen. Rentaro explains he does not like seeing them fight over his first kiss, so he was willing to give it up if it meant they would get along. Touched by this, both girls say at the same time that the other can have his first kiss. Surprised, Rentaro asks why, and the girls shyly admit they can see how much the other loves him by comparing it to their own feelings. Hearing this, Rentaro hugs them and admits that he misunderstood them. They return to the rooftop, and this time, Rentaro suggests they all kiss at the same time. With them all holding each other's hands, they share a kiss together, even almost summoning an alien in the process. The next day, they go to the library to look for cooking books, since Hikari wants to keep cooking for Rentaro. While the girls browse together, Rentaro wanders off to find the new chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, where Gojo gets pounded by the panda. Then as he reaches for a book that has his interest, he notices someone else reaching for the same one. When he turns to look, he immediately feels the familiar electrifying zing and realizes that the cutie patootie in front of him is his third soulmate. In her imagination, the girl, Shizuka, imagines herself as a princess trying to find her Prince Charming, and now she finds him in Rentaro. Instantly, the girl blushes hard at the sight of him, and backs off to allow Rentaro to grab the book the two of them try to grab. However, Rentaro gently tells her to take the book for herself, and when he expects a response, the girl uses the words from her books to communicate to tell him that she's the librarian from there. He understands that since they're in the library, this girl wants them to be quiet, and when she asks what he's looking for, Rentaro gestures a romance book with comedy in it. However, it confuses her why he doesn't use his mouth to speak, and Rentaro asks her the same question back out of confusion. The girl then explains that she struggles to speak directly, and goes to find someone to help him, but Rentaro stops her and asks that she gives him assistance in his search for a romance book. Hearing his request, the little cutie patootie goes around grabbing bangers after bangers, and by the time she finishes, Rentaro is surprised to see 2 stacks of books waiting for him. Shizuka misunderstands his reaction and starts apologizing, but he quickly tells her he will take all of them. However, when he takes the book to the librarian, he learns that without a library card, he's not allowed to borrow any books. Seeing how disappointed he looks, Shizuka offers him her personal favorite romance book instead, since it is not part of the library's collection. Rentaro thanks her and asks what she meant earlier, so she shows him her school ID. When he looks at it, he realizes they are in the same class. He He introduces himself properly, then heads off to find Hikari and Karana, who are in a corner reading cookbooks. That night, Rentaro stays up reading the book Shizuka gave him. It tells the story of a princess and a knight who swears to protect her. After the knight saves her from a dragon, they fall in love, but their happiness is threatened when the king arranges her marriage to another prince. On the day she is supposed to leave, the knight tries to reach her but is stopped by the guards. All he can do is call out, asking if there is any way they can escape their cruel fate. The story ends there, leaving Rentaro frustrated and forcing him having to wait for the second volume to learn what happens next. But the final line of the book talks about fate, and it makes him reminisce about the soulmates he has to face and how cruel fate is. The next day at school, Rentaro returns the book to Shizuka and tells her how much he enjoyed it, making her blush. Then, he clocks that she brought the second volume in her bag, and while she feels nervous, she hands it to him, insisting that he have it, which excites Rentaro, who wants to know what happens next. Wanting to show her his appreciation, he takes her to a vending machine to get a drink. While sitting together, he asks if she always reads books, and she nods. He tells her he also loves reading and praises the story she shared with him. Watching him get excited makes Shizuka laugh quietly, and she shows him the book, indicating she has read it many times too. Realizing this is why she can quickly find the right lines to communicate, Rentaro tells her she is amazing. However, Shizuka disagrees and says someone like her does not deserve that kind of praise. When she thanks him for not judging her, Rentaro starts to realize her situation is more complicated than he thought. He asks to borrow the first book again, and she hands it over. Sometime later, at the library, a fellow librarian notices that Shizuka seems happier than usual and asks if something good happened. Shizuka panics and quickly uses her book to say everything is the same, so the librarian drops the topic. Afterward, Shizuka continues her work, but she cannot stop thinking about her first meeting with Rentaro. As days pass without him coming to talk to her, she starts to feel down and anxious about what he could be doing, until one afternoon, she sees him eating with Hikari and Karane. The girls ask why he looks so tired lately, and he explains he has been busy staying up late. The girls misunderstand and jump to their own conclusions, but when he asks what they mean, they refuse to explain. Instead, Hikari kisses his cheek and says she is giving him energy, which leads him to hug her. Karane gets jealous and tries to do the same, but ends up headbutting him instead. While they deal with that, Shizuka feels absolutely heartbroken, realizing that Rentaro is not single like she had hoped. Sitting alone with her book, she remembers how people used to bully her for not being able to speak, and even her own mother would scream and call her a disappointment for struggling to talk, which made Shizuka feel like she was a mistake for being born. Later, while she is in the library, Rentaro suddenly shows up and asks her to take out her phone. He explains that he wants her to install an app, and after she does, he tells her to download a file he sent, which turns out to be an ebook of the first volume she lent him. When he asks her to highlight some text, a voice reads it aloud, surprising her. He then explains that it is a text-to-speech app. Realizing he went out of his way to help her communicate more easily, Shizuka is deeply moved. When he asks her to try it, she uses it to confess her feelings to him, while adding that he does not need to respond. She is quietly crying as she does this, so Rentaro pulls her close and admits that he likes her too. Shizuka tells him they cannot be together because he already has girlfriends, but Rentaro assures her that it does not matter. The next day, he brings Shizuka to the rooftop to meet Hikari and Karane and asks if they are okay with him dating her too. The girls are shocked by his request, but while Karane is ready to turn his dingleberries into smoothies, Hikari is chill about it and thanks him for not abandoning them after meeting someone new, which makes Karana question her reaction. Rentaro reassures them that his feelings have not changed and promises to love all three of them equally. He even swears he would punish himself if he ever made them feel otherwise. And hearing this, they finally accept Shizuka as his new girlfriend. Later, the group gathers to eat lunch together. Rentaro formally introduces Shizuka as his new girlfriend. At first, Hikari and Karana think she seems like a normal girl, so they ask what she likes. Rentaro explains that Shizuka communicates through her phone. He also mentions that he already sent her the second volume, edited to include all of their names in the story. Curious, Shizuka taps on their names, and when the phone refers to Karane as Lady, Karane gets instantly triggered, thinking that she's being called old. Rentaro quickly explains that it is just part of Shizuka's unique way of speaking, and part of what makes her special. He continues talking about Shizuka's habits, like how her toes move when she gets deep into a story. Then he starts pointing out things about his other girlfriends too. He says Hikari bites her fingers when she is thinking, which he finds cute, and that Karane twirls her hair whenever he compliments her. All three girls blush, surprised that he notices such small details and cares about them that much. Then, Rentaro casually adds that after he, Hikari, and Karana kiss, they tend to act a certain cute way afterward. Hearing this, Shizuka asks if they have already shared a kiss with him. Rentaro does not understand at first until she selects the right line on her phone. Once he realizes what she means, he confirms that he has kissed both Hikari and Karane. Shizuka quietly says she is saving her first kiss for marriage, and Rentaro gently tells her that he wants to kiss her too, but only when she feels ready. As lunch continues, Hikari and Kaorana chat happily while feeding Rentaro, while Shizuka stays a bit distant, still not fully comfortable. Noticing this, Rentaro pulls out a deck of cards and suggests a game called Lady Maid, where the loser gets tickled. When the girls imagine being tickled by him, they secretly get excited and want to lose on purpose. In the first round, Rentaro wins and Kaorane loses. She tries to stay serious while he tickles her, but she cannot hold it in and starts laughing. In the second round, Rentaro wins again, and Hikari loses. She eagerly asks him to tickle her where she's most bouncy. Unlike Kaorane, Hikari enjoys it and laughs freely, only stopping herself before she gets too carried away. In the third round, Rentaro wins once more, and this time Shizuka loses. He looks forward to hearing her laugh, but even as he tickles her, she stays quiet while her phone plays a laughing voice instead. Rentaro smiles, but feels a little disappointed that he cannot hear her real laugh. In the fourth round, Hikari and Kaorana try to team up to beat him, hoping to tickle him instead, but Shizuka unexpectedly wins. While the others get excited to see Rentaro laugh so hard, Shizuka disappointingly simply pokes him. Even so, Rentaro bursts out laughing and says it is the hardest he has laughed in a while. After the game, Rentaro says he is going to the restroom and leaves, leaving Shizuka alone with the other two. Karane immediately confronts her, criticizing her for being too quiet and not trying hard enough during the game. Hikari tries to calm things down, but Shizuka suddenly speaks up. She explains that she has been holding back because she is the newest and does not want to overstep the others who have already been closer to Rentaro. Hikari jokingly tells Karane to stop being so harsh, calling her scary. This only makes Karane more upset, and she challenges Hikari. Before things escalate, Shizuka speaks again. She tells Hikari that she is kind, beautiful, and charming. Then she tells Karane that she is confident and elegant. Both girls are caught off guard and blush at the unexpected compliments. Shizuka then admits her real fear, which is that Rentaro might compare her to them. Hearing this, Karana softens and apologizes for yelling, calling Shizuka cute. Hikari reassures her that there is nothing to worry about and explains that Rentaro is someone who truly values each of them. Karane, now more supportive, tells Shizuka not to hold back and encourages her to go after what she wants with Rentaro. Unbeknownst to the girls, Rentaro never actually goes to the restroom. He has been standing just outside, listening the whole time. He planned this after noticing the tension earlier, and after hearing their conversation, he is happy and satisfied with how things turned out. Then, he returns to the rooftop, where Karani immediately says that Shizuka's poke does not count, and that she should properly tickle him next time. Hikari agrees, and Shizuka looks at them, surprised but touched by their support. She then walks up to Rentaro and, gathering her courage, instead of tickling him, she demands that she gets a tongue-twirling kiss. She admits she lied earlier about waiting until marriage, and in truth, she wants it, and thanks to Hikari and Karane, she feels brave enough to say it. Rentaro smiles and gently strokes her hair before holding her cheek and kissing her, making Shizuka blush harder than a dude stiffy. Hikari teases Karane, saying it is her fault Shizuka has become more confident, and asks if she feels jealous. Karane denies it, saying she just wants to support Shizuka. Hikari then walks over to Rentaro and asks for a kiss too. She hesitates for a moment and quietly asks if she is enough for him. Rentaro reassures all of them, saying they are all beautiful and special to him. Hikari smiles brightly and kisses him. Karane watches, clearly feeling a bit jealous despite what she said earlier. She tries to act casual while hinting at what she wants. Rentaro understands and pulls her into a hug. When he calls her extremely cute, she blushes and lightly hits him. He then tells her he wants to kiss her too. Karane admits she wants it as well, and they share a kiss. Now that all three girls have kissed him, Rentaro looks up at the sky. When they ask what he is thinking, he smiles and says he is just grateful to have all of them by his side. Sometime later, the school releases the results of the recent exams, and while other students and Rentaro's baby mamas are checking their scores, Rentaro goes back to the classroom to grab his phone that he left behind, but then notices a girl named Nano still inside. He asks if she is not going to check her results, and she calmly replies that it is a waste of time since she already knows she is heads and shoulders above every other scrubs in terms of grades. When she turns to look at him, they both suddenly feel a strong shock, making Rentaro realize that this white-haired, budget Elsa-looking chick is his new soulmate. He asks if she wants to check the results together, but she bluntly says it is pointless, causing him to awkwardly back off. Afterward, Rentaro meets up with his girlfriends to check their scores, where Hikari is the highest of the bunch, with Rentaro being the biggest dummy among them. He praises them for doing well, but then realizes how insane Nano is when he sees that he got the perfect score in her exams. Curious, he asks the girls about her, and the girls say that they only know that Nano is a classmate of theirs, but Karana mentions a rumor that Nano is basically like a human computer. Later, during a science class, they are tasked to do research in a lab, and Rentaro and Nano are paired together for a lab practical. The class is supposed to observe and draw onion cells using a microscope, and Rentaro goes to get the equipment needed. As they work, Rentaro cannot help but compare her to his girlfriends. While Hikari, Karane, and Shizuka are lively, expressive, and cute, Nano has a quiet elegance that pulls him in. When he returns, he is surprised to see Nano already drawing the diagram straight from the textbook. Rentaro gently suggests they try the experiment themselves since it would be more interesting, but Nano disagrees. She explains that scientists have already found the answers, so repeating it is just a waste of time. Their teacher starts watching them closely, and while getting nervous, Rentaro insists they at least attempt it. Nano reluctantly agrees, and they begin. During it, Rentaro accidentally cuts his finger, and as he cleans it and thinks about going to the nurse, Nano stops him, takes his finger, and puts it in her mouth.
Nice.
Explaining that saliva has antibacterial properties. As she does this, Rentaro's mind goes blank from shock, unable to believe the insane tongue maneuver he's feeling from her, imagining what other finger-shaped things she can do this to. After class is over, Rentaro finds Nano in the hallway and thanks her, but she brushes it off, saying she only did it to avoid delays. He says he wants to repay her and maybe get to know her better through something fun, but she refuses. She tells him she has only spent a second of her life doing something she considers fun, and she does not plan to repeat it. To her, only results and efficiency matter, and anything else has no value. They end up debating what value really means, with Rentaro saying life is more than just results. Nano cuts the conversation short, calling it pointless, and walks away, leaving Rentaro unsure if she really is his soulmate. That night, Nano studies at home as usual, but her thoughts keep drifting back to Rentaro. She remembers his expressions and how close they were, which frustrates her. Trying to focus again, she starts writing out the digits of phi on her board, but even that cannot clear her mind. So the next day, in class, Nano calmly tells Rentaro directly that she is in love with him and wants a relationship. Rentaro is surprised but happily says he feels the same. However, she immediately rejects him, saying she is doing so because he did not react the way she expected. Rentaro tells her he has been rejected many times before and is not giving up now, and he says that he will keep loving her no matter what. Nano listens and realizes there might be some truth in his words, but to regain control, she starts reciting numbers again. So later, Rentaro invites her on a date to better understand their feelings. The next day, they go to a theme park. He is surprised to see her in casual clothes, looking very different from usual. Nano comments on how illogical everything around them is, but Rentaro just smiles. They start with a haunted house, where Nano points out that ghosts are just negative energies and that a job application is scarier than all of them, while Rentaro gets spooked by every single thing. Then, they ride the teacups, which Nano finds pointless. After that, they try a maze, and she criticizes it as inefficient. Finally, they ride the Ferris wheel, and for the first time, Nano shows fear because of the height. Rentaro quietly sits beside her and offers support, and she holds his hand tightly until the ride ends. Later, they look at the photos he took throughout the day. Nano says she feels nothing, and that the whole day had no value. Rentaro fully accepts her assessment of their whole day, so he decides that they should just burn the photos, but as he's about to do it, Nano quickly grabs them back. Tears fall from her eyes as she realizes that, even if she cannot explain it, those moments matter to her. Seeing that, Rentaro gently tells her that these kinds of experiences are what give life meaning. Hearing this, Nano finally admits that she loves him and wants to be with him. She says she wants to explore this side of life she has never understood. When Rentaro reaches out for a hug, she instead pulls him closer and kisses him, catching him off guard. After that, they walk home together, hand in hand. After that, Rentaro introduces her to his other girlfriends. Karane immediately gets upset and tells him to just do whatever he wants, while Hikari and Shizuka stay calmer and say they are fine with it as long as they are still treated properly. Rentaro smiles and suggests they all go somewhere together to bond, and Hikari quickly comes up with the idea of going to a water park. Days before the swimsuit date, Karane goes shopping at the swimsuit store, annoyed at Hikari after she suddenly planned a trip to the water park. She struggles to find a plot protector that would look good on her, and after looking around, finds herself one that is cute. Initially, she hesitates, thinking her small plots would do the swimsuit a disservice, but when she imagines how Rentaro would love it, that pushes her to buy it. When the day of the outing arrives, Rentaro meets the girls at the pool and is completely stunned when he sees Hikari, Nano, and Shizuka in their swimsuits. However, Shizuka, who is wearing her school swimsuit, apologizes for not looking as good as the others. Rentaro reassures her that it does not matter, saying he would still like her no matter what she wears. As he pats her head, he realizes Karane is not there and asks where she is. Before anyone can answer, Karane shows up wearing a cover-up. Rentaro immediately panics, thinking she came out without changing properly, and tells her to go back. But Karane tells him to relax and explains she is just under the weather. Worried, Rentaro and Hikari suggest that they leave early, but Karane refuses. Nano tells Karane to sit in the sun to warm up. Karane thanks her, but Nano says she is not doing it out of concern. Offended, Karane almost lashes out, but Rentaro convinces himself she is fine. Meanwhile, Shizuka quietly asks Karane if she wants company, but Karane turns her down, assuring the little cute potato that she's fine and that they should have fun. After that, Karane goes to sit under the sun, while the others enter the pool. In the water, the current slowly pulls Shizuka away, while Nano starts treating the pool like some kind of survival challenge and tries to swim against the flow. At that moment, Hakari bumps into him, saying the current pushed her, but Rentaro notices she is pressing her double trouble on purpose. He gets flustered, and Nano notices what is happening. Wanting to join in, she directly grabs his hand and places it on her mumbo-jumbo. Not wanting to lose, Hakari places his other hand on hers as well, leaving Rentaro completely overwhelmed, and the girls panic and pull him out of the pool. Hakari tries to give him mouth-to-mouth, but ends up enjoying the intertwine of lips instead. Nano pushes her aside and tries as well, and the two start competing over who will save him. At the same time, Shizuka is still being carried away by the current. When she tries to call for help, no one hears her. To make things worse, her float gets damaged, leaving her stuck on a small section in the middle of the pool. Back at the poolside, Hakari and Nano feel discouraged when Rentaro does not wake up. Nano suggests finding a lifeguard, and they decide to look for one. While searching, a group of guys stops them and tries to hit on them. Hakari politely says they are busy, but one of them tries to grab her arm. However, before he can touch her, Nano steps in and blocks him. When he tries to talk his way out, she immediately pokes him in the eye. His friends step forward and threaten her, asking if she wants to handle things the easy way or the hard way with his hard thing. Nano calmly says she will deal with all three of them if needed, as long as Hakari goes to find a lifeguard for Rentaro. Hakari questions her plan, but Nano explains that since she is the newer girlfriend, Rentaro would worry more about Hakari. However, Hakari refuses and tells the guys that none of them are going anywhere with them. She also scolds Nano for misunderstanding Rentaro. Just as one of the guys reaches out again, Rentaro suddenly appears and stops him, telling him to stay away from his girlfriends. The guy demands payback for his injured friend, but Rentaro calmly offers to deal with them himself instead. They refuse and tell him to take one girl and leave the other, but Rentaro surprises them by saying both girls are his girlfriends. They do not believe him and demand proof by asking him to kiss them. Rentaro hesitates, but Nano steps forward and kisses him. Hakari immediately joins in, and the guys are so shocked by the scene that they back off and leave. Hakari and Nano ask how Rentaro found them, and Rentaro explains that Karane saw them in trouble earlier and told him, which caused him to wake up and rush over. He thanks Nano for protecting Hakari, but also tells her not to push herself too far next time. Nano blushes, touched that he cares about her. Then, Karane asks where Shizuka is, and Rentaro suddenly realizes she is missing. He panics and runs toward the pool, remembering the last place they saw her. Meanwhile, Shizuka is still stuck on a small island in the water. She tries calling for help with her phone, but it dies. Feeling alone, she starts to cry, until she hears Rentaro calling her name. At first, she hesitates, thinking he will not hear her, but she gathers her courage and calls out with her own voice. Rentaro hears her right away and rushes over to save her since she cannot swim. After bringing her to safety, Shizuka blushes and, overwhelmed with emotion, kisses him in front of everyone. Once they regroup, Rentaro tells the others to keep enjoying themselves while he takes a break with Karane. The two sit down, and Rentaro teases her, saying she has been staring at Hakari and Nano, but she denies it and says she is just cold. He points out that she is drinking something cold anyway, which makes her admit she feels a bit insecure compared to the others. Rentaro tells her to stand up and removes her cover-up, revealing her swimsuit. Karane reacts by hitting him, but Rentaro compliments how she looks and hugs her, showing how fast his heart is beating. Karane blushes, surprised since she thought he preferred the others. Hearing his honest feelings, she softens and becomes shy. Rentaro then kisses her, and they share a quiet moment together. After that, they rejoin the others. Hakari immediately compliments Karane's swimsuit, calling it cute. With everything settled, the group finally relaxes and enjoys their time together at the pool. A few days later, while Rentaro is being dragged to the cafeteria by the girls, they walk past the science lab and Rentaro locks eyes with a red-haired girl and instantly feels the zing. So the next day, he goes to the lab himself, hoping to find that girl again. However, inside, the only girl he finds is Kusuri, a small and energetic girl who assumes he is there to join the chemistry club. She welcomes him and serves him tea in a beaker. Even though he tries to refuse, she insists, so he drinks it to be polite. As Kusuri excitedly talks about her latest invention, she introduces a human magnet drug. She shows him 2 test tubes with different colored liquids and explains that drinking them will make people attract like magnets. She then asks him to try one, but before he can properly refuse, she makes him drink it. Almost instantly, his body starts reacting, and he feels the strange effect. Proud of her success, Kusuri casually mentions that one of the side effects is several days of creamy, chocolate fudge diarrhea, and Rentaro complains that she should have said that first, but she ignores him and drinks the second liquid herself. Right away, she sticks to him and happily explains that opposite charges attract. Rentaro finds her behavior oddly cute, even though he is confused because he did not feel a zing with her. When she tries to pull away and cannot, she realizes the effect is stronger than expected, but assures him it will wear off in about 10 minutes. Just as he begins to relax, she suddenly mentions that she has been holding in her need to leak from her faucet from hours ago, and Rentaro tries to push her away in panic, but she tells him to chill, explaining that she's wearing diapers, leaving Rentaro having to experience someone pissing while stick to him, potentially awakening a new piss fetish. Once the effect wears off and they separate, Rentaro keeps watching her, still confused about why he feels drawn to her. Then, Kusuri suddenly reveals that she mixed a love potion into his tea because she likes him and wanted him to feel the same. Shocked, Rentaro immediately tries to make himself throw up, which makes Kusuri think he is rejecting her. She starts crying and hits his back, accusing him of being mean. Rentaro quickly explains that he misunderstood, saying he just does not want his feelings to be influenced by a drug. Suddenly, he starts tweaking harder than crack for trying to reject the drug, so Kusuri quickly drinks another potion and transfers it to him to cancel the effect. After recovering, Kusuri sadly assumes he will no longer like her now that the potion is gone. However, Rentaro tells her he is still naturally attracted to her, which confuses him as well. At that moment, Kusuri suddenly drops to her knees and begs him to date her. Right after that, she transforms into her true form, the busty and creamy red-haired baddie he saw before. Seeing his shock, Kusuri explains that her smaller appearance is the result of a failed immortality drug, and she can only return to her original form temporarily using another formula. Once everything finally makes sense, Rentaro immediately bows and asks her to be his girlfriend. Kusuri happily agrees and helps him up. Later, he brings her to the rooftop to introduce her to the others. When Karane asks her to introduce herself, Kusuri bluntly says she loves making drugs. Karane instantly reacts badly and grabs Rentaro, thinking he brought the hot and spicy version of Walter White with him, but he quickly explains the situation. After calming down, he clarifies that Kusuri is their senior and that her appearance is due to her experiments. With that settled, Kusuri excitedly says she brought some of her creations and starts offering them to everyone. She first offers Karana something meant to enhance her appearance, but Karana feels offended by her intention. Kusuri reveals that Rentaro was the person who told her about what Karane is like and lacking, and Karane instantly attacks Rentaro for telling some other hoe about her insecurity due to her lack of peach and melons. However, Kusuri adds that Rentaro actually said that Karane is a full-on model like Slim Hottie, and Karane quickly apologizes to Rentaro for almost splitting him in half. After that, Kusuri turns to Akari and gives her something called the hot stuff medicine. Akari imagines it will make her even more thicker in the right places and quickly drinks it without hesitation. Instead, her body starts producing heat that melts her clothes away. Kusuri explains that the effect is meant to make her hotter, though not in the way Hakari expected. Rentaro quickly hands her his tracksuit so she can cover up. Akari notices that the clothes smell like Rentaro and starts enjoying it a bit too much, thanking Kusuri for the unexpected bonus. Next, Kusuri gives Shizuka a fantasy-themed medicine, knowing how much she loves stories. After drinking it, Shizuka suddenly grows a pair of soft animal-like ears. Rentaro finds it adorable and gently touches them, causing Shizuka to react with joy and glee. Then, Kusuri gives Nano a special drug that allows her to control her hair, and her hair starts moving freely, almost like extra limbs. She uses it to pull Rentaro closer, and the two share a moment together. Kusuri warns that overusing it could cause her to lose her hair, which Nano initially does not mind. But after Rentaro says he likes her hair the way it is, she decides not to overuse it. Later, the group sits together for a small picnic. Kusuri talks about her dream of becoming part of a research team in the future, and everyone supports her goal. After a while, Kusuri excuses herself to go to the bathroom, but before leaving, she points out 2 flasks of tea and tells the others that one is meant for the girls and one for Rentaro. After she leaves, the girls assume the smaller flask is for Rentaro, so they end up drinking from the blue one instead. When Kusuri returns, she is happy at first seeing Rentaro with the tea, but then realizes the girls drank the wrong one and immediately panics. Rentaro tries to calm her down, but she explains that the blue tea contains a powerful effect that makes someone obsessed with kissing the person they love, which was originally meant for Rentaro. Rentaro tells her she does not need something like that for him to want to kiss her, which makes her happy. However, before anything else can happen, the girls suddenly attack him. Kusuri quickly explains that the tea has affected them, turning them into aggressive, kiss-obsessed versions of themselves. At first, Rentaro thinks it does not sound so bad, but Kusuri warns him seriously that if they do not give the girls the antidote within an hour, they will stay like this permanently, losing their normal personalities completely. Just then, the girls rush toward Rentaro, trying to grab him, but Kusuri quickly pulls him away and the two of them run for the door. After slamming it shut behind them, Kusuri tells him they need to get to the chemistry lab to make the neutralizer. As they head down the hallway, the girls block their path, and Kusuri desperately tries to find a potion that will help them. From her coat, she pulls out a tube with drugs that can melt faces. Rentaro immediately tells her not to use it because he does not want anyone getting hurt. Instead, he suggests taking another route. As they run, the freaky old prune of a vice principal suddenly appears and starts chasing them for running in the halls. Startled, Kusuri panics and throws the tube at her, causing her makeup to melt away. The two are shocked, while the old hag quickly retreats in embarrassment. With that distraction, Rentaro and Kusuri continue running, but soon notice the girls have split up to search for them. Since time is running out, Rentaro suggests they split up too. He decides to act as bait to draw the girls away while Kusuri heads to the lab. As he runs, Shizuka chases after him, but she suddenly trips and falls. Worried, Rentaro goes back to help her and brings her to the nurse's office. While taking care of her, he completely forgets he is supposed to be escaping, and before he can react, Shizuka pins him down with surprising strength and starts kissing him. For a moment, he gets caught up in it, but he quickly snaps back to his senses and manages to stop her using a hanger. He gently leaves her there, promising to come back once everything is fixed, then rushes off again. On his way, he runs into Karane and Hakari. Trying to avoid them, he fails when Karane throws Hakari straight at him, knocking him to the ground like a bowling pin. The two of them pin him down and take turns kissing him. In the middle of it, they start arguing with each other like usual, and Rentaro realizes that despite the drug, they are both still themselves. Seeing a chance to escape, Rentaro pushes them toward each other, making them kiss instead, which distracts them long enough for him to slip away. When he finally reaches the lab, he is surprised to see Nano already there. Not wanting to be caught, he hides inside a locker in the hallway. While inside, he realizes Kusuri is already hiding there too. She explains she avoided Nano by hiding, and even in her current state, Nano is still thinking clearly and likely organized the search. Kusuri suggests using Rentaro as bait again to distract Nano while she sneaks into the lab, but he points out that Nano would probably see through it. As they try to think of another plan, Kusuri suddenly starts crying. She blames herself for everything, saying none of this would have happened if she had not used her drugs. She admits that even in the past, her club members left her because she focused too much on her experiments. Just as she begins to lose hope, she feels something in her pocket. To her surprise, it is a neutralizer. Rentaro feels relieved, thinking they can use it on Nano, but before he can react, Kusuri drinks it herself. When he tries to stop her, the rest spills, wasting it. He gets frustrated, but Kusuri explains that she planned to approach Nano in her normal form, hoping it would confuse her enough to slip by. Rentaro is left speechless, though partly because of how she is pushing onto him, while Kusuri, unaware of his reaction, says she has to move quickly since the effect will not last long. She steps out of the locker, and at first, Nano ignores her. Kusuri tries to move closer, but panics when Nano suddenly focuses on her. She accidentally gives herself away, and Nano restrains her instead. With no other choice, Rentaro reveals himself and runs, drawing Nano's attention. She chases him into a classroom, breaks in, and catches him. Trapped, Rentaro is pinned down as Nano starts kissing him repeatedly, which is something only some of us can ever experience with a baddie. Just in time, Kusuri arrives with a newly made neutralizer and uses it, stopping everything. Later, once the girls return to normal, they apologize to Rentaro for what happened. Karane and Hakari pretend they do not remember anything, clearly embarrassed for their scissor-loving kissing event. Kusuri tearfully apologizes for causing trouble with her experiments, but the others reassure her that they are not upset. Rentaro tells her he will always help her fix any problems her inventions cause and encourages her not to give up on her dream of becoming a researcher. Moved by his support, Kusuri hugs him and confesses again, finally getting the kiss she wanted. A few days after that, Rentaro takes the girls to a famous flower garden. When they arrive, they find out that a special flower tossing event is about to begin. The rules are that whoever catches the bouquet gets to wear a wedding dress and take wedding photos with their partner. Hearing this, Hakari gets really excited since it has always been her dream to wear a wedding dress. Seeing how much it means to her, Rentaro suggests that all of them join the competition. While they wait for it to start, they notice a loud and aggressive group nearby. A tall, gorilla-like girl is hyping up her teammates, telling them to win no matter what. Nano explains that they are part of a biker gang called the Gorilla Syndicate, known for their strength and rough behavior. Rentaro thanks her for the warning, knowing things might get chaotic. Hakari then suggests that they work together during the event, and later they can draw lots to decide who gets to wear the dress, to which all the girls agree to. Before the event begins, Rentaro tells Shizuka to stay back a bit since she is small and could get hurt in the crowd. Kusuri, on the other hand, drinks her neutralizer and turns into her taller form so she can compete properly. When they notice the gorilla group cheering with banners, Rentaro decides Shizuka should have one too. Since he does not have proper materials, he grabs a towel and quickly writes Rentaro family on it. When the girls see it, they all get flustered and shy, clearly touched by the name. After a quick group cheer, they head toward the stage. Meanwhile, the gorilla group continues shouting loudly, but suddenly they stop when they notice Shizuka happily waving her towel and jumping around. Before anything else happens, the announcer calls everyone's attention, signaling the start of the event. To everyone's surprise, the person throwing the bouquet is the vice principal. Since she used to be an athlete, she throws the flowers with incredible force, sending them flying high into the air. The crowd immediately rushes after it, but the gorilla group starts pushing people aside, ignoring the rules. Their leader even throws one of her teammates toward Hakari, but Karane quickly steps in and saves her. Fired up, Karane declares she is switching focus and charges at the gang leader. The leader refuses to lose and orders her team to perform a move called Gorkane. Together, they create a spinning force that sends the bouquet flying straight toward her. Rentaro runs after it, but suddenly sees that Shizuka is being carried through the air by the wind, using her towel like a glider. Because she is high above everyone else, Shizuka manages to grab the bouquet. However, without the towel supporting her, she begins to fall. Thinking fast, Hakari, Nano, and Kusuri form a cushion that any man would approve to catch her. The impact causes her to bounce off them, but luckily, Rentaro jumps in and catches her safely. The gorilla leader shouts in frustration after losing, but Karana walks up to her and offers a handshake. She thanks her for being a strong opponent, though deep down, she knows the distraction helped her from having to be a part of the human cushion. With the competition over, Rentaro and the girls celebrate their victory. Hakari reminds everyone that it is time to draw lots to decide who will wear the wedding dress. What the others do not know is that Hakari secretly rigged the lots to make sure she wins. Just as they are about to begin, Nano suggests that everyone pick at the same time instead of taking turns. Hakari panics, but there is nothing she can do. In the end, everyone draws their lots, and surprisingly, Hakari still ends up winning. She happily celebrates, but Kusuri suddenly throws a tantrum, insisting she wants to wear the dress instead. Feeling bad, Hakari offers to give up her spot, but Kusuri quickly realizes she is acting childish and apologizes, telling Hakari to go ahead. In the end, Hakari finally gets to wear the wedding dress and take photos with Rentaro. After everything is done, she thanks him sincerely. However, right after that, she suddenly tells him they need to break up. Confused and worried, Rentaro quickly changes his clothes and looks for her, but he is told she has already left. He tries calling her, but she does not answer, making him even more anxious. Later that day, he goes to her house to find answers. When he sees her by the window, he calls out to her. Hakari quickly signals for him to be quiet as a security guard patrols nearby. Once the guard leaves, Hakari calls him using an unknown number and tells him to go home, but Rentaro refuses. He says he will not leave until she explains why she wants to break up. At first, Hakari claims she has fallen out of love with him, but Rentaro does not believe her. After some pressure, she finally admits the truth that her mother does not approve of their relationship. Before they can talk further, her mother steps in, closes the curtains, and takes the phone. She coldly tells Rentaro to stay away from her daughter, or that he will be fed to the dogs before hanging up. Moments later, the security guard returns and forces Rentaro to leave. Inside the house, Hakari begs her mother for forgiveness. Her mother warns her that if she disobeys again, Rentaro will be taken far away. Hakari promises to follow her rules, and her mother hugs her, saying it is all for her own good. Later, as Rentaro walks home, he keeps thinking about what happened. He cannot understand why Hakari's mother hates him so much, and he feels powerless to change her mind. While lost in thought, he spots a 4-leaf clover and remembers the time he spent with Hakari, and that memory gives him an idea. He gathers the other girls at the park and tells them everything. Then, he announces his plan to break Hakari out of her house and run away with her. The girls immediately point out that her mother would definitely find them, but Rentaro says he does not care, as he just wants Hakari to be free and happy. At first, he asks them to wait for him while he does it alone, but then he realizes how selfish that sounds and tries to take it back. Before he can finish, Karane interrupts him and says she is coming with him. One by one, the others agree as well that Rentaro cannot do this alone, so they all head out to save Hakari with him. When they arrive at Hakari's house, Rentaro immediately warns everyone about the security guards patrolling the area, saying that these guys are not a joke and will perform flesh cavity checks if they get caught. He goes and calls Hakari's phone, and when she doesn't answer it, he assumes that it's because her mother has taken it from her. He then pulls a rubber ball out of his bag and explains his plan of throwing the ball at Hakari's window to get her attention. Unfortunately, his aim is terrible, and the ball misses completely, bouncing off the wall instead. They start searching for the ball so he can try again, and Karana eventually finds it in the mouth of the family cat. She chases after it but ends up tripping. The cat keeps running until it reaches Nano, who calmly prepares to kick it away, but Rentaro quickly stops her, telling her not to do something that will get them cancelled. Just then, they hear a security guard getting closer, and everyone immediately hides in the bushes like Solid Snake. Rentaro grabs the cat, but it slips out of his arms and walks straight toward the guard, who starts playing with it. Since the cat still has the ball, their original plan is ruined, so they decide to sneak into the house instead. However, the only entrance nearby is a small cat flap, and none of them can fit through it. Nano quickly comes up with a solution. She gathers small rocks and carefully throws them through the flap, aiming for the lock. After several tries, she manages to unlock the door from the inside and lets everyone in. As they enter, Rentaro notices something off about Nano's hand. She tries to hide it, but he gently grabs it and sees that she has injured herself while throwing the rocks. He immediately asks Karana to grab bandages and disinfectant from his bag. After patching her up, Karana scolds Nano for being reckless. Nano simply says she did it to repay Hikari for helping her before at the pool, and that she now considers Hikari a friend. Once inside, they are suddenly confronted by a large guard dog, and the group freezes in fear at the pooch. Not wanting to risk anything, Rentaro tells everyone to retreat, but as they rush back outside, he suddenly realizes Shizuka is still inside, being too scared to move. Rentaro tries to call out to her, but Nano stops him, reminding him about the guards nearby. Inside, Shizuka panics and starts blaming herself for coming along, considering that she's the human equivalent of a harmless marshmallow. But then, she remembers how kind Hikari has always been to her, and she gathers her courage. She lies down, ready to accept whatever this canine will do to her. But to everyone's surprise, instead of ripping her to shreds, the dog gently starts licking her face. Nano quietly explains that dogs tend to protect those they see as weak, and since Shizuka seems harmless, the dog chooses to guard her instead of attacking. Everyone feels relieved, but Rentaro points out that if they go back inside, the dog might react differently. At that moment, Kusuri pulls out a small tube and tells Rentaro to leave the dog to her. She rolls the tube toward Shizuka and explains that it is a sleeping drug. However, she forgets to clearly explain that it is meant for the dog, and Shizuka recklessly drinks it herself and immediately falls asleep. Karana starts scolding Kusuri, but before things get worse, the dog licks Shizuka's mouth and ends up falling asleep as well. The group quickly heads back inside. As they move deeper into the house, they reach a long hallway filled with laser sensors. Suddenly, the cat reappears and triggers one of them, setting off an alarm. The guards rush in, but luckily only find the cat, as the group went full Solid Snake again. Once the guards leave, they realize they still have to get past the remaining sensors. Kusuri hands Rentaro a special eye drop, claiming it will help him see the sensors. As he prepares to use it, Karane notices an envelope that Kusuri accidentally dropped. When she picks it up, Kusuri quickly snatches it back, but not before Nano reads part of it. She reveals that it is addressed to a foreign research team. Karane remembers Kusuri talking about her dream and asks why she would give something like that to them, effectively stopping herself from reaching her dream. Kusuri admits she did it to help Hikari and make up for all the trouble she caused before. She says her friends matter more than anything else. Meanwhile, Rentaro uses the eye drops. When he opens his eyes, he can clearly see the sensor beams stretching across the hallway. He also notices a gap near the ceiling where there are no sensors. He explains that the only way through is from above. At first it seems impossible, but then Nano suggests teamwork, which requires Karane's strength. Before Karane can react, she is suddenly tied together with Rentaro as part of the plan. She complains loudly, but goes along with it anyway. The two of them slowly go past the sensors, but halfway through, Karane's clothes start to slip, and she is forced to continue while feeling Rentaro's body brushing on her skin, making her unable to help herself but make happy noises. After a long, pleasurable process, the two manage to climb across the top and reach the other side. Rentaro tells the others to wait while he and Karane go ahead to find Hikari. When they finally reach her room and open the door, alarms immediately go off. Within seconds, they are surrounded by guards and Hikari's mother, Hahari. They are quickly captured and taken to another room. There, Rentaro tries to convince Hahari to let Hikari go with him, but she refuses. She explains that she is only trying to protect her daughter from heartbreak. She shares how Hikari's father passed away when she was young, leaving her alone with a daughter and an unhealable pain, with Hikari being the only connection she has left to him, and she refuses to risk losing her happiness to love. As she finishes her story, Rentaro begins to cry, deeply moved by her pain, and the tears wash away the effect of the eye drops. When he looks up again and finally sees Hahari in the eyes, the two of them unexpectedly sing together, and in that moment, the hot MILF of a mother loses her composure and begs Rentaro to crack her hard, adding another soulmate to his collection of baddies. Karane is completely stunned after hearing what Hahari says. For a moment, she seriously questions if this freaky hag is right in the head, while Rentaro just stands there, stuttering and unable to process what just happened. Snapping out of it, Karane yells at him to get a grip and stop being distracted by this hot mommy. She reminds him that Hahari is Hikari's mother, not someone he should be reacting to like that. Hearing this, Hahari quickly regains her composure and claims she was only joking. Karane doesn't buy it at all, but she decides to stay quiet for now. Hahari then firmly states again that she will never allow Rentaro to be with Hikari. Rentaro refuses to back down and tells her that he won't give up because he promised to make Hikari happy. However, Hahari doesn't believe him in the slightest. With a snap of her fingers, a strange chair rises up from the floor. She explains that it is a lie detector and says that if it proves Rentaro is lying about his feelings, he must leave and never contact Hikari again. Rentaro agrees, but asks her to prove the chair actually works. To demonstrate, Hahari makes Karane sit in it. Karane immediately complains, but goes along with it anyway. Hahari asks her a question about the size of her melons, which annoys her even more. Karane gives an answer, but the machine says she is lying. She tries again with a different answer, but it still marks it as false. Frustrated, she even hits the machine, but it keeps calling her out for lying. Then Hahari asks if Karane loves Rentaro. Karane answers yes, but the machine says it is a lie, which is a shot at Rentaro's soul. This repeats several times, and each time Rentaro reacts like he is getting emotionally ripped apart from inside out. Finally, Karane shouts that Rentaro is the person she loves most in the world, and this time, the machine confirms she is telling the truth, which gives Rentaro his life and soul back. After that, Rentaro takes Karane's place in the chair. He declares that he also loves her deeply, which embarrasses her and makes her yell at him. Once things calm down, Hahari begins questioning him seriously about his feelings for Hikari. One by one, his answers are confirmed as true by the machine. Even so, Hahari refuses to accept it and claims the device might not be reliable. Karane immediately calls her out, accusing her of using it just to mess with them. Before things can go further, a maid suddenly rushes in with urgent news, and she reports that Hikari is trying to jump out of the window out of desperation. Everyone freezes, but before Hahari can act, Karane grabs her and threatens to break her neck if anyone tries to stop her. She tells Rentaro to go save Hikari and take her far away from this place. Rentaro hesitates because he doesn't want to leave Karane behind, but she reassures him, saying that is willing to wait as long as he comes back for her. That gives him the push he needs. He thanks her and runs off, while Karane holds Hahari back with everything she has. Hahari struggles, saying she will show what a mother's love truly means, but Karane refuses to let her pass, insisting her own feelings are just as strong. Meanwhile, Rentaro reaches Hikari's room. Rentaro calls out to her, telling her they can leave now. Hikari, however, says there is no point because her mother would find them no matter where they go. Rentaro begs her not to give up, saying losing her would be the worst thing for him. His words finally reach her, but as the tension fades, she freezes in fear, realizing that she's a step away from death. Rentaro carefully approaches her, telling her to stay still. Just then, she slips. Rentaro manages to grab her in time, but he is left hanging on with no safe way to pull her up. Hikari begs him to let go, but he refuses. Instead, he shifts his position, and the two of them fall together into the fountain below. The others rush over immediately. When Hahari and Karane arrive, Karane walks up to Hikari and slaps her for almost doing something so stupid. Everyone is shocked, but soon both of them start crying, and Rentaro understands that Karane did it out of concern and frustration, not anger. Seeing everything, Hahari finally admits she was wrong about Rentaro, and she asks him to take care of Hikari, just like he promised. Rentaro agrees, but then adds that he will take care of Hahari too. This completely surprises her, and she hugs him without thinking. The rest of the girls can only watch in confusion, unsure how things suddenly turn this way. After calming down, Hahari invites everyone to stay the night, and they accept. Later, during bath time, Karane gets overwhelmed seeing everyone else overpowering her in the size department, and leaves early. Back in the room, Rentaro notices her and accidentally focuses on her exposed tummy after what happened during the laser passing. Karane catches on and calls him out, accusing him of having a dirty mind. She pushes him onto the bed, trying to get back at him, but ends up getting flustered herself. Before anything can go too far, Kusuri suddenly barges into the room and start doing workouts to avoid suspicion. Not long after, the others return, and Hahari dresses everyone in cute outfits. Rentaro reacts strongly, especially to Shizuka and Kusuri, and they thank him with small gestures that leave him overwhelmed. Watching this, Hahari gets flustered and quickly excuses herself, saying she needs to go to the kitchen. Rentaro follows her to make sure she's okay, but while they are all alone, with no one near them, she starts rizzing him up, turning Rentaro redder than a tomato. Not able to hold back anymore, Hahari invites Rentaro to her room, and Rentaro is shocked, realizing that the plot is thickening. When Rentaro and Hahari take longer than expected to return, the girls begin to grow suspicious. Hikari cannot ignore the uneasy thought forming in her mind that her own mother is potentially making her boyfriend's pickle slimy at this second. Karane immediately dismisses the idea as ridiculous, while Nano logically deems it unlikely. Then, they hear Hahari's loud, and they quickly rush off to investigate, bracing themselves for the worst. However, when they burst into the room, what they find is Rentaro, dressed in a full feminine outfit, styled from head to toe. Hahari is rolling on the floor in delight, overwhelmed by how adorable he looks, while the girls freeze, their expectations collapsing instantly, as they expected Hahari to be making another Hakari with Rentaro. Unable to handle the embarrassment and mental overload, Rentaro faints on the spot. Hahari remains completely calm and assures the others that he will be fine. Without missing a beat, she shifts into action and calls Nano to assist with a plan to wake him up. Shortly afterward, Nano returns dressed as a prince. With complete composure, she leans in and kisses Rentaro as part of Hahari's dramatic revival idea, and Rentaro regains consciousness. Wanting to reset himself, he excuses himself and goes to take a bath. While he is away, a maid quietly hands Hahari a rope. This immediately raises suspicion among the girls. Under pressure, Hahari and Hakari admit they are planning to spy on Rentaro in the bath to see what his baby carrot is like. Kusuri instantly begs to join, driven by curiosity. Nano also agrees, claiming research purposes, while Karani insists on tagging along so she will not be left out. However, Shizuka opposes this degenerate plan and stands in their way, and tries to explain that what they are about to do is wrong. Unfortunately, she has no support, and the others quickly wrap her up tightly in a blanket, leaving her behind as they carry out their plan. Meanwhile, Rentaro anticipates something like this and makes sure to keep his towel securely on. Outside, the spying operation begins. Kusuri is lowered down toward the bathroom window using the rope. She presses her face against the glass in an attempt to peek through. At that exact moment, Rentaro turns toward the window, and seeing a face suddenly pressed against the glass, he panics and screams, thinking he has seen a ghost. Kusuri also panics, believing she has been caught, and the others quickly pull her back up. Inside, Rentaro decides it is safer to leave the bathroom immediately. At the same time, Shizuka, still wrapped in the blanket, struggles to free herself. Alone and anxious, her thoughts spiral as she imagines everything going wrong, ending with everyone somehow dying. Determined to help, she begins rolling her body in an attempt to escape. She manages to roll out of the room, but she cannot stop. She continues rolling down the hallway until she reaches the top of the stairs, where she encounters the house's dog. Startled, she loses control and tumbles down the stairs. During the fall, the blanket loosens and frees her, but the momentum carries her all the way into the bathroom, then into the bathtub. When she gets up, Rentaro gets spooked, thinking it's Sadako in the flesh. However, he sees that it's Shizuka, and when he goes to help her, his towel falls off, completely shocking Shizuka with how massive it is, knocking her out. Rentaro quickly covers himself, picks her up, and rushes out of the bathroom. As he exits, he runs into the others, and it does not take long for him to figure out what they have been trying to do, and he firmly scolds them for trying to see what his meaty stiffy is like. Later that evening, they gather to play a card game, enjoying a rare moment of peace. However, Hahari suddenly excuses herself and leaves the room, and something about her demeanor catches Rentaro's attention, so he quietly follows her. Then, he finds her alone, kneeling in front of a photograph of Hakari's father, praying for him. When Rentaro shows himself, Hahari explains that she has never moved on after his death because she fears that loving someone else will cause her feelings for him to fade, and that would mean truly losing him. For her, holding onto that love is the only way to keep his memory alive. Rentaro listens carefully before stepping forward and embracing her. He reassures her that love does not work that way, that loving someone new does not erase the past, as memories and feelings remain, even as the heart grows. His words deeply move her. She hesitates before asking him for a kiss, recalling a promise she once made. At the last moment, she tries to back away, but Rentaro gently stops her and fulfills her request. That night, after everything settles, Hakari quietly joins Rentaro in bed. She admits how afraid she has been during their separation, and how overwhelming the thought of losing him feels. Rentaro comforts her, assuring her that he will never leave, which he seals with a kiss. Later, Rentaro wakes to the sloppy sound of tongue and saliva, and when he looks over, he sees Hakari and Karane kissing each other in their sleep, each believing they are kissing him. The sight leaves him completely bewildered. Unable to fall back asleep, he steps out into the hallway. There, he encounters what appears to be the spirit of Hakari's father. The figure attempts to scare his boots off, but Rentaro remains calm. He admits that he is afraid of ghosts, yet this encounter feels different. The two begin to talk, and Rentaro tells the man that, knowing how deeply Hakari and Hahari love him, he has no doubt that he must have been a good person. Hearing this, the father looks at him seriously and asks for one thing, which is for Rentaro to guarantee the happiness of the two people he left behind. Without hesitation, Rentaro promises that he will give them the utmost happiness. He then adds that he should watch over them together from their respective places. The father accepts this, and the two share a firm handshake, silently agreeing to protect and care for Hakari and Hahari in their own ways. Suddenly, the father's body begins to glow. A soft light surrounds him as he starts to rise, being pulled upward. It becomes clear that his time has come, and he explains that now that he knows his family will be happy, there is nothing left tying him to the world. Rentaro tries to stop him, asking him to stay just a little longer, but it is already too late. The light grows brighter, and the father gently fades away, ascending peacefully. In the next moment, Rentaro finds himself waking up alone in the hallway. The house is quiet, and everything feels normal again. For a second, he wonders if it was all just a dream, but deep down, he knows it was real. He believes that the father has truly passed on, and is now watching over them from above. With that thought in his heart, Rentaro quietly accepts what happened. Later, the group prepares to leave the mansion. Before parting, they promise Ahari that they will visit again. However, only a few days later, something completely unexpected happens. Ahari suddenly appears at school, revealing herself as the new headmaster after purchasing the entire institution, and her reasoning is that she wants to stay close to Rentaro. At that same time, Rentaro is at the mansion, planning to visit Ahari. When he learns that she is already at school, he immediately rushes out without wasting a second. He runs through the streets and into the school grounds, passing by several girls along the way, faces that we will meet in the recap of the next season of this degenerate show. Without stopping, he heads straight for the rooftop. When he arrives, he finds all of his girlfriends who love him, all waiting patiently for him. And as he looks at them, it becomes clear that each of them loves him deeply. If you watch this anime recap until the end, and wants a recap of the next season, comment down, girlfriends galore. That's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, watch this video on screen.